Welcome to Ask ALLi, the self-publishing advice podcast from the Alliance of Independent Authors. This week it's our monthly members Q&A, where ALLi members have their most pressing publishing questions analyzed and answered. Our members Q&A podcast stream is proudly sponsored by Book Vault. Sell high-quality print-on-demand books directly to readers worldwide and earn maximum royalties selling directly. Automate fulfillment and create stunning special editions with Book Vault Bespoke. Visit bookvault.app today for an instant quote. And here are your hosts for the members Q&A, Michael La Ronn and Sasha Black.
We have a skeleton crew here. So this is the Self-Publishing with ALLi podcast, member Q&A. I'm Michael La Ronn. I'm normally joined by Sasha Black, but Sasha had something at the last minute come up, and so she had to send her regrets. So I am going to be holding down the fort today, and we've only got a few people on the show today. So what I would like to do is, everybody, this is your time to ask questions. We are here to answer any questions you have around self-publishing and marketing and anything that you might be dealing with right now. So you can throw your questions in the chat. I will answer them until all the questions run out. And if you want, I can address some common topics that we typically talk about if you want me to fill some time. Karen asks, would you advise working with a marketing company to launch a second book? Karen, marketing companies are hard because there are not a lot of them, but there are enough of them, and it's sometimes difficult to get results, right? So I've heard some people talk about, do I go with a marketing company? Do I go with a publicist or a PR firm, that sort of thing. And I think it depends on a couple of things, right? So I think we can break this down and talk about a couple of different areas, since there's not a whole lot of people on it and we've got some time. So the first area that a lot of people like to go into marketing and hire people for are ads. So for example, Amazon ads or Facebook ads or BookBub ads. There are some companies out there that will be like advertising firms. They will actually take over your advertising. They'll write your copy. They'll put together your visual materials, and they will essentially run the ads and give you reports on how those work. Mixed bag. I've seen some companies do a really good job helping people with advertising. I've seen other companies not so much. So if you do decide to get help with advertising, then I would do your homework, and I would only advertise. I would only hire a company to do it if, one, they got a reputable reputation. I know that's kind of a weird phrase, kind of redundant. A reputable reputation. And then two, you've got a book that fits very neatly into an established genre. So I would not hire a marketing company to market something that is not to market. So, for example, if you write sweet contemporary romance, that might make sense, right? If you've got a good cover, well edited, that sort of thing. But if you've got, a genre mashup book, I don't know that an ad company is really going to be able to help you. But ultimately, I still think you're better off running ads by yourself first, so that you know how to do them. And then once you understand the metrics and what the quote unquote picture of good looks like, then if it is something that your book sales are, helping you with, then you can consider hiring a company, but you've got to monitor them, and you've really got to make sure that they're getting you results. And you also have to be unafraid to fire them if they're not getting you results. So my opinion on advertising is it's a mixed bag. General book marketing. Now let's talk about that. So if you are wanting somebody to come in and help you with your general book marketing, so like social media, newsletters, things like that, that is an area where maybe you could hire a virtual assistant and you can, ask them to help you. But again, for a second book, I don't know that I would do all of that. I would learn how to do it first, because you're going to spend a lot of money and it may not be that helpful for you. To me, this is something that you would do down the road. That's my thought around that. I have met good publicists who do a good job of promoting their authors, and I do think that there are good publicists out there, but I think that you really have to be at a level where your book sales are outstanding and you've got a lot of reviews and you've got a book that's the right fit so that they can help you. I think a lot of people just want to hire somebody because they don't want to do the marketing themselves. And I think that's a valid concern. But at the end of the day, no one's probably going to be able to do it better than you. Okay. And I would love your feedback, Karen. If I hit the mark on that, if you have any follow-ups, feel free. Okay. Catriona says, I hear it said that now is a good time to self-publish as there is less or no stigma in the book world. Would you agree? And if yes, how much, ballpark, would it cost for a company to do everything for a writer? Okay, so I don't have any handle on how much a company would charge to do everything, so I can't comment on that. But what I will say is that it has never been a better time to be a self-published writer. And at ALLi, the Alliance of Independent Authors, we use the term self-publishing interchangeably with independent publishing. In independent publishing, we like that term better because self-publishing implies that you do everything by yourself. And really, you're not doing everything by yourself. You are building a team of people around you who you can go to help you with certain tasks. So you write the book, you edit the book, you self-edit, and then you hire a series of editors, you hire a cover designer, you hire other people who might be able to help you move the book forward so that you can publish the most professional product as possible. So yes, the short answer to your question is now is the best time to publish. And I'll caveat that, I'll be a little coy in saying that it has been the best time to publish for about the last 12 years. So, whether you published in 2012 or even 2011, or you published in 2025, I still think that all the years in between are the best time to publish. Now, there's something you said in your question about stigma. There's less stigma. Yes, when I published in 2012 or when I was working on my first book, there was a lot of stigma around self-publishing. And some of the real OGs who were publishing in like 2007, 2008, indie, there was a lot of stigma because, the stigma in a way was earned because there were a lot of books with ugly covers and very, very poor, if any, editing and very bad formatting. And that was a thing. That was a thing. It was not uncommon in the late 2000s, early 2010s, to buy a self-published book that did not hit the mark, that did not have quality standards. And that's one of the reasons that ALLi exists, is because we promote ethics and excellence in self-publishing. And we want authors to be excellent and put their best feet forward. It's one of those mornings, guys. So put their best feet forward. So yes, and I think that stigma is still there in some degree because there are some readers who still don't like self-published books. But the noise that I used to hear in 2012 really is kind of non-existent now. It's a lot safer for authors to publish books now. So if you want to do it, go for it. And you have the benefit of publishing now, if this is your first time at the rodeo, for a few reasons. One, a lot of self-published authors have made the mistakes for you and kind of know the path. And so you can just follow their pathway. The second thing is that there are so many more tools and so many more resources that are available today than there ever were 12 years ago, in a big way, ALLi being one of them. But I mean, just even things like tools like Vellum to format your books, or Atticus to format your books, or simple things like being able to distribute your books through a tool like Draft2Digital, right? I mean, there's all sorts of things that we have now that we didn't have back then. And so, yeah, Catriona, I say this is the best time. I agree with that wholeheartedly, 100%. I will go further. This is something I say, I don't know if I've said it in my ALLi capacity a whole lot, but I believe this wholeheartedly, and that is, this is the best time in the history of the world to be a writer. And the reason for that is because we have so much freedom, and there's so many options, and never before has it been easier to get your book out into the world, into readers' hands who would want to read it. So, yes. Okay, Rox asks, is Draft2Digital a good platform to use for self-published authors? Are Ingram and KDP better? Ingram Spark and KDP better? Yeah, Rox, I would say all of the above. Drafted Digital is one of our partner members. They are an outstanding company, an outstanding distributor. You cannot go wrong distributing your books with them. Amazon KDP is also outstanding. They make things very easy. Some authors have a love-hate relationship with them, but I think that at the end of the day, they pave the way for what self-publishing could be. And Ingram Spark is also very good as well. And they're a distributor. And the reason I say yes to all of the above is because when you think about maximizing your distribution, your goal should be to get your book into as many hands of readers around the world who want to buy it when they want to buy it. And so when you look at Amazon KDP, ALLi's stance is that every author should be on Amazon KDP. You should have a dedicated KDP account. You should go claim your Amazon Author Central profile, and you should publish direct to Amazon. One, because you're going to get a higher sales commission, 70%. And then two, because it's just easier to self-service your books on Amazon, and it's faster. Because if you have to go through a third party or an intermediary, it can take some time, and sometimes Amazon systems don't play nicely with like Drafted Digital and Ingram Spark. So we always recommend that you go direct to Amazon. Now, Ingram Spark, we also recommend that you consider Ingram Spark for print. So there's Amazon KDP, you've got the ebook section or the ebook distribution arm, and then you've got the KDP print distribution arm. We also recommend that in addition to that, you go through Ingram Spark as well. And the reason for that is because Ingram Spark is essentially, Ingram is the largest distributor in the world. And so anybody who's anybody can purchase books through Ingram. That will make it much easier to get your books into bookstores if bookstores want to buy your books. There are some bookstores that won't buy anything from Amazon. And also Ingram allows you to discount your books so that it becomes more attractive for booksellers and retailers to be able to order it. So it's a yes and Ingram and KDP print. And then you add Drafted Digital on top of that, at least for ebook distribution, because Drafted Digital will be able to get you into a lot of places that you can't get into yourself. So for example, Drafted Digital distributes to, I believe, Overdrive. They distribute to some libraries. They distribute to a lot of other retailers that don't have direct dedicated dashboards that you can go into. So I think yes and to all of those. I think they're all great. They're all in my personal distribution strategy. My strategy is Amazon KDP. I go direct to Amazon KDP. I go direct to Kobo, so through the Kobo Writing Life. I go direct to Google Play. And then I use Drafted Digital for ebook distribution. So I pretty much check all the boxes that are not, Amazon for Drafted Digital. And then I also distribute through, who else do I go through? I did Publish Drive for a little while. They're okay. StreetLib is also another one. All good companies that, treat authors well. And then so that's it for my distribution. And then I sell direct. And then, we could talk about audio if you want. That's a whole nother can of worms. But I also distribute through Findaway Voices, Spotify as well. So all the companies I mentioned, you'll be in good hands if you go through them. Okay. Chad asks, do short or long form videos work best for marketing our books? Yes, Chad, that's a great question. It's funny because I just had this conversation with somebody. I was at Superstars Writing Conference in Colorado, and this question came up. The answer is yes and. Long form and short form content both work. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. So, for example, if I don't know what you write, Chad. You feel free to tell me, and I can weigh in and give you some more tailored advice. But if let's say, for example, you're on YouTube. YouTube has, the shorts and all that, but YouTube's bread and butter is long form content. And there are certain readers out there that enjoy long form content. So for example, even just uploading your audiobook to YouTube can get you a lot of visibility. Okay. So there is an argument for long form content, and I think it's making a comeback. Now, what most people are conditioned to look at is the short form, because you've got TikTok, you've got YouTube Shorts, you've got Instagram, you've got lots of short form content and short videos that catch people's attention. do something silly or something entertaining, and then they move on to the next video. And that is just as valid. And if you're on TikTok or if you're on those places, I think that's valid as well. So I think your strategy can have both. It just ultimately depends on your goals and ultimately where your readers are and where they hang out. So yeah, I love short form and long form. Okay. Dina says, happy to see you again. I came out with a brand new genre series last year in KU, and I'm looking to take advantage of KU's countdown deal for book 1 of the series. But I don't want to penalize readers who took a chance on me and bought book 1 at full price. Should I limit how often I do promotions for book 1? I was thinking once or twice a year. Yeah, Dina, that's a great question. Well, congrats on your new series. And yeah, I think you should take advantage of the KU countdown deals. You know, I kind of have this thing in the back of my head that when you ask this question, would readers know that you discounted the book, you know, and that they bought it at full price and you didn't? I mean, some of your readers might know, but I think it's probably out of sight, out of mind for most people. I mean, naturally, you don't want to make people feel like they got a raw deal, but I'm just not convinced that it's as big of a deal as it is that people make it. Now, naturally, if you're pushing it on your newsletter, that sort of thing, and people find out, then, you know, it could be an issue. But I think readers intrinsically understand that authors will put their books on sale, right? And maybe that's something that you could put in your newsletter. Hey, you know, this book is on sale. If you want to make sure that you get my books when they're on sale, please open my emails and read them to the end, you know? So I think you're okay. I think you're okay there. Now, as far as how often to do the KU countdowns, I don't know. I haven't been in KU for a while. It's probably been 6 or 7 years since I've even had a book in KU. What I would do is I would do it until you start to see the law of diminishing returns. So do it once and you'll probably get, you know, you'll probably get the most traction the first time. And then if you do it again, you'll probably see that you get less traction, and then just see where the drop-off point is. And maybe there's not a drop-off point. Maybe you'll have the best time when you do it the third time. Who knows, right? But ultimately, you're going to start to see a law of diminishing returns. And I would just do it until you start to see it, and then you'll know. And then that will help. And I would also, you know, other members in the forum might be able to weigh in on this as well. So I'm just not a KU guy, so I can't comment. But once or twice a year might not be enough, is kind of my gut impression, Dina. You may want to try it quarterly and just see. It can't hurt. I don't think it can hurt. Okay. Rock says, I've had problems with D2D, and should I contact them for help with my account? Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if you have any sort of customer service issues with Drafted Digital or any of our partner members or any service provider for that example, I would reach out to them. Drafted Digital is very responsive, and they in my experience have bent over backwards to help whenever I've had issues. So sorry to hear you're having issues, and I hope that you get them resolved quickly. Okay, moving on down the line here. Karen says, I found KDP, couldn't produce the book without gutter problems, so I only used Ingram and now have added Book Vault because the quality is really good. Do you have any thoughts on this? I did give up with KDP because I had real problems with gutters. Yeah, okay. So Book Vault is another one that is very good. So I've heard nothing but good things about Book Vault. They just launched in the US, I think, last year. So I have not gotten around to getting my books distributed through there. I've got like over 100 books. Like anytime I move to a new service provider, it's kind of difficult for me. But Sasha uses Book Vault and loves them. And Sasha has produced probably some of the most beautiful books I've ever seen through Book Vault. So you're in good hands with Book Vault. KDP producing the book without gutter problems. Yeah, you know, Karen, it's funny you say that because I definitely have had gutter problems as well with KDP, and I found that it was because of formatting. So it could be something in your formatting that's causing an issue. I don't know. In this case, if you can't figure it out, you know, I'm curious. if you're having gutter problems in KDP, I would also think it's interesting that you're not having them with Ingram. So there's something with the formatting there that doesn't sound right. It might be worth investing in hiring a formatter just to take a look at what you're using and what's going on. And Karen, if you wouldn't mind, if you let me know what formatting software you're using, because there could be something there as well. But yeah, I would say in terms of gutters, it makes a lot of sense to distribute your print books through Amazon KDP. I would highly recommend that you find a way to do that, because I mentioned earlier that sometimes the systems don't talk very well. So if you are using only Ingram and you're distributing to KDP or to Amazon through Ingram, I've heard some stories of sometimes it can take a while. Sometimes you get the out of stock, or there's just sometimes some issues with shipping and things like that. So it really is, I believe, in your best interest to find a way to solve this problem. So you may want to hire a formatter just to take a look at things and help it figure it out. Or better yet, go to our member forum and see if there's anybody who has formatting experience who's willing to help you out and maybe just take a look at your files. Okay. But yeah, I can empathize with you with gutters, Karen. Before tools like Vellum and Atticus came out, my gutters were just a mess. My gutters were in the gutter, if you guys don't mind a few bad puns. Okay. Chad gave me his book. Okay, so we were talking about short form versus long form videos, Chad, and you mentioned that your book is it's a youth mentoring book focused on teaching self-discipline life skills. Oh, that's a fantastic book idea, by the way. I think you can benefit from both, Chad. Honestly, I think, I don't know what your level of comfort is on doing video. It sounds like you're at least interested in some way, but that to me feels like a very good long form content. I think that parents and youth would probably be interested in sitting down and watching, some videos on what you have to offer. And I also think that you could take those videos and cut them up and do something short with them as well, in addition to just doing something that is unique to short form as well. So, I don't know if your personality, if you're more of a TikTok guy, or if you're more buttoned up like me, I don't know. But I think that there are some opportunities there, because especially with nonfiction, I think you have an advantage. With fiction writers, we have to tap dance around what do we use, because what do we put on social media as fiction writers that isn't just buy my book. It's the perennial fiction writer problem. But with nonfiction, you've kind of got the whole universe available to you. So I would maybe experiment with both. Okay. Katriana is asking about a particular service provider. I can't comment on any particular service providers on this call, Katriana, but what I would say is we do have a service ratings directory, and that is available at selfpublishingadvice.org, and I'll put it in the chat, /ratings. So selfpublishingadvice.org/ratings. Go over there, take a gander, and type in the name of the publisher. And if we have a rating on them, you will see it, and you'll be able to learn, what ALLi stance on that particular provider is. And if you don't see the provider on there, please reach out to our watchdog desk. There should be a contact information on the ratings page, and we will put it in the queue, and we will look at it for you. Okay. And Karen says, yes, I agree. I'm not benefiting because I found KDP difficult. My Illustrator does everything, formatting, etc. We've struggled. Yeah. I would say that most people are not struggling with KDP formatting anymore. So there's got to be something, and it's probably something simple that once you figure it out, it'll be easier. Or it could be something related to the nature of your book. So if you've got an Illustrator, that tells me that you've got some other things going on with your book as well that are maybe inherent to illustration. So I think you can figure it out. It's just, how do you get there? Okay. And let's see. Okay, so thank you, Chad, for weighing in. And Chad says, I'm going to my first book signing event. Hey, congratulations, next week. What are a few words of wisdom for my planning and meeting with the public? I believe there will be 10 other Delaware authors going to be there. Some things I've done. I have a table cover with my website printed on it, a way to take credit card payments, bookmarks, and 20 books ready. Well, hey, first off, that's awesome, Chad. You're thinking about this the right way. So here are some things. All the things you said, good. Very, very good. Here are some things to help you take it to the next level. One thing I would think about is you don't have a whole lot of time because it's next week, but maybe think about having something like business cards or something, because you're a nonfiction writer. Have business cards like in a stack on your, on there as well. Also, if you can find one, get like a book stand, so where you can actually display the book like face out. I know that sounds like very minor, but that could be a very helpful thing. Another thing that I've seen a lot of people do at conferences is they will try to talk to anyone who comes by, and they will usually have like a canned sentence or something like, "Hey, what do you like to read?" Or, "Hey, my book is about XYZ. Would you potentially be interested?" Right. So I would definitely do that. Another thing I would consider is, if you can swing it, is, with your nonfiction, it might be a little bit more tougher, but have some sort of a way for people to sign up for your newsletter. So that could be as simple as, having a clipboard and having people write their name down, or maybe there's a QR code or something you can print and put down, and then that will take them to your page. I think that's helpful. Some things that I've seen other authors do. I haven't done a whole lot of signings, but I've done enough to kind of know what to do. I've seen some authors, they will have like swag on their tables, and I think I'm not a big fan of swag, because I think people have enough crap, and I certainly don't need any more crap in my house. So I usually don't take swag, but having something like breath mints or something practical that people can take might be helpful. So is there something that is like a swaggy thing, and probably not for this event, but something swaggy that like your target audience might like, or something that spawns a conversation? It's just little things, just little things. But no, you're thinking about this the right way. With the credit card payments, sounds like you've got a way to take those. And the bookmarks will probably be a hit. And I would say, trying to think of anything else. No, I think that's pretty good, Chad. So you'll have to let us know how it goes. All right. And we get some kudos from Richard James. Great show, hugely helpful. Well, thank you, Richard. Much appreciated. All right. Well, guys, I got to the bottom of the queue, so keep your questions coming in. I wanted to go to the ALLi website and just call out a couple of articles that I think everyone should take a look at if you haven't had a chance. So if everyone, I'm sure most of you are familiar with our blog, but Dan Holloway does self-publishing news, and he does a really great job of kind of rounding up all of the different self-publishing news that's out there. And so his most recent article, and again, I'm not going to say any dates because I just never know when people listen to this. But if you're listening and you would like to find it, if you're listening in the future and you'd like to find it, he has an article on Amazon's Kindle changes sparking a backlash as the USB transfer option ends. So Amazon used to allow you to transfer books to your Kindle with a USB device. They're not allowing that anymore. And some people have some feelings about it. So I would check that out if anyone is interested, if you happen to be one of those people that is affected. And then there's another thing I want to let everybody know about that I think is really important, and it's a fantastic opportunity for anyone who's writing right now. And that is that Spotify is one of our partner members. They're launching a mental health fiction award. So the goal of this particular contest is to spotlight mental health. So they're partnering with the Jed Foundation and the Blacklist, and they want to spotlight a fiction manuscript that puts mental health front and center. So we don't talk enough about mental health And one of the great things about the contest is that there are 5 winners, and the prize is $10,000, and the award is unrestricted, so you can use it however you want. All right. So I just want to let people know about that. That is highlighted on our blog. We have an article. It's called Spotify Launches Mental Health Fiction Award. I believe the deadline is in July. So if you happen to be writing something around mental health, maybe think about it. If you are interested in participating in that contest, please consider it and take a look at it. And that's on selfpublishingadvice.org on our blog. Okay. Rock says, this is the first live call I've been on or seen, but I've been a member for almost 2 years. It seemed easy when ALLi was on Facebook. Where should I be running in, and how do I access the ALLi forum? Yeah, Rox, this is our new forum. So we used Facebook for probably over 10 years, and it was great in the beginning, but then there were some issues with Facebook in terms of usability of the groups, moderating the groups, and our group was getting a lot bigger. We get a lot of people from all over the world join ALLi, and so it was easier for us to transition over to the Self-Pub Connect platform. So you asked, where should you stop in? This is it, and yeah, I would just say that this is it. We don't have any other communities that we are running. We used to have a LinkedIn group. We had a Facebook group, but this is it. We've kind of migrated everything over to this. So it's been like any other migration, some learning curves and some challenges, but overall, we think that this is going to set us up pretty nicely for the future as we continue to grow and as we continue to have a lot of unique needs. Okay. Catriona, if one uses Amazon, can you also use UK Book Trade? I am not familiar with UK Book Trade, so let me look that up. This is why I love having Sasha on, because she would know the answer to this okay. Okay, so the answer is yes, you can, at least what I'm understanding, you can use Book Trade as well. It's a yes and, Catriona. The caveat is that if you are in Kindle Unlimited, then you have to remember that your ebook can only be available on Amazon. So if you're in Kindle Unlimited, I think UK Book Trade is for physical books, it looks like. So, but if I'm wrong on that, let me know. But yeah, if the only limitation you're going to have is with your ebook, but with your if you're focused on print books, or if you're not in Kindle Unlimited, then yes, absolutely, you can get it. And I would highly recommend it for folks in the UK. It looks like a pretty cool program, and the nice thing about it is it maximizes your distribution. Okay, we got a question from K.A. Terry. For those of us who are still working on their first novel and are new to ALLi, is selfpublishingadvice.org the first place to look for basic questions on both the business and artistic sides? Yes, K.A., I would start there. Make selfpublishingadvice.org your first port of call. We've got a blog. We've got this podcast network that's got a bunch of sister shows, including the Member Q&A podcast. And we've also got a lot of resources, and as well as we'll let you know when our Self-PubCon, our annual conference, goes live as well. So I would start there. If you would like to become a member, and you obviously are a member because you're here, allianceindependentauthors.org is our member site, and that's where you can log in, and that's where you can access your member benefits. So for example, we have a lot of guidebooks, and we also have our self-publishing services directory, and a few other resources, as well as discounts and deals that ALLi members can take advantage of. You can log into your dashboard and take advantage of those as well. But if you're just looking for information and a fast fix, yes, selfpublishingadvice.org is where you're going to get all of our advice. Okay, Rox asks, what site to upload gets you into libraries? Yes, so I would recommend distributing through Draft to Digital. So, Rox, I know you're having some issues there. So, but I would distribute through Draft to Digital, and Draft to Digital distributes to Overdrive, which gets into libraries. Overdrive and Libby. So Overdrive used to be, it's kind of weird. Overdrive used to be at least in the United States, Overdrive used to be the app that a lot of libraries used. Now it's Libby, and it's Libby by Overdrive. It's kind of confusing. But Overdrive will get you into libraries so that libraries can order your book if they want to. And then also Draft to Digital distributes to Baker and Taylor, which that is also a library catalog. Now, for audio, if you happen to have your books into audio, libraries are also big on audio. You would want to distribute through Hoopla. Hoopla is another place. And I think they have ebooks as well. So Draft to Digital distributes through Hoopla, ebook channels as well. So yeah, so I would distribute through Findaway Voices if you want to get into libraries. And the important thing when you're doing library pricing is that Draft to Digital offers for ebook and audio, or for ebook, because Draft to Digital doesn't do audio. For ebook, you can set the price differently for ebook, for a single ebook, like a retail customer, and a library. So for example, your ebook might be $4.99, but you might want to charge a higher price for libraries because libraries are going to circulate your book to multiple people under one license, right? And Draft to Digital usually offers recommended pricing on that. What I would recommend that you check out, Rox, is check out our guidebook. Go to allianceindependentauthors.org and log in, and we have a guidebook on getting your books into libraries, and that will give you some more tips. And that's from our member Debbie Young, and Debbie did a fantastic job with that book. And then audio is a slightly different animal, but if you happen to get your books into audio, I believe I would definitely go through Findaway Voices because they've got a big library presence through Spotify. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for joining, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you around your burning self-publishing questions. I'm Michael La Ronn. I'm ALLi's Outreach Manager, and normally I'm joined with Sasha, but Sasha will be back next time. Thank you all very much for joining. It's been a pleasure, and we will talk to you next time. Bye now.
You have been listening to the Ask ALLi Members Q&A with Michael La Ronn and Sasha Black. Our Members Q&A podcast stream is proudly sponsored by Book Vault. Sell high-quality print-on-demand books directly to readers worldwide and earn maximum royalties selling directly. Automate fulfillment and create stunning special editions with Book Vault Bespoke. Visit bookvault.app today for an instant quote. Our weekly self-publishing advice podcast is produced by ALLi, the Alliance of Independent Authors. Find more author advice, tips, and tools at our Self-Publishing Advice Center, selfpublishingadvice.org. And if you haven't already, we invite you to join our organization and become a self-publishing ally. You can do that at allianceindependentauthors.org. Now, what are you waiting for? Go write and publish.